Right now, at this very moment, the company winning the global robotaxi race is Chinese, not American. Baidu Apollo just edged out Waymo for the #1 position on a new AI-powered leaderboard, ranking robotaxi companies every 12 hours using real federal reports, safety records, and actual revenue data. Here's what should alarm you. 3 of the top 5 robotaxi operators on Earth are now Chinese. Pony.ai and WeRide are sitting 3rd and 4th. China's embedded driverless rides so deeply into daily life that their operators are already generating revenue and running commercial operations at scale. American companies are still rolling out regional pilots. Think about that contrast. One region's running billion-dollar driverless services, the others testing in select cities. This isn't speculation, it's concrete data from Autnmy AI's Road to Autonomy Index, which pulls directly from federal filings, SEC documents, and safety records. The methodology heavily favors operators who have moved beyond pilots into fully autonomous, revenue-generating commercial service. That's exactly where China leads. They're not just testing autonomous cars, they're operating massive fleets right now, picking up passengers today, making money today. The United States invested billions into self-driving technology. Our companies are technically brilliant, but somewhere the story flipped. It went from "can we build this" to "China already did, and they're not stopping." Here's what the headlines aren't telling you. For decades, America owned the autonomous vehicle story. It was Silicon Valley's race to win. Waymo, Google's self-driving arm, invested enormous sums and built genuinely impressive technology. Tesla talked about full self-driving. Uber bet billions on it. The narrative was crystal clear. We invented this, we'll master it, we'll lead the future. Then something shifted. Chinese companies started doing what America only talked about. They started deploying at genuine scale. Baidu began running Apollo in Chinese cities not as limited pilots, but as full operations. Passengers paid real money. These weren't employees doing a test drive. These were revenue-generating services. WeRide and Pony.ai copied the same blueprint. Meanwhile, in the United States, regulatory approval moved glacially. Waymo operates in Phoenix, San Francisco, a handful of other cities. Permits are complex. Public fear is legitimate. Safety concerns deserve attention. But China made a different calculation. They leaned into their existing regulatory environment and prioritized deployment over endless testing. Deploy, learn, improve, scale. It's not that Chinese vehicles are reckless. It's that they accepted good enough to launch over perfect before launch. The result was inevitable. 3 Chinese companies now outrank America's leader. And they didn't get there with experiments. They got there with operating revenue-generating businesses for years already. China didn't invent self-driving, but they proved that in a global race, beating a competitor in your home market first can matter more than perfecting the technology. Here's the real twist of this story. So how do we actually know China's winning? How do you even rank something as complex as autonomous vehicle technology? The answer is Autnmy AI's Road to Autonomy Index, and it's refreshingly transparent. This isn't some secret algorithm guessing which company might be best in theory. It's pulling real data, federal safety reports, SEC filings from public companies, insurance records, and operational metrics. It updates every 12 hours. Think of it like a sports league standings. Except instead of wins and losses, you're measuring actual progress toward full autonomy. The key metric: are you operating revenue-generating commercial services, or are you still in pilot mode? That distinction matters enormously because pilots are low-stakes tests. They operate in controlled cities, limited routes, often with safety drivers ready to take over. But revenue-generating services mean real passengers who paid real money are trusting their safety entirely to the vehicle's autonomous systems. That's the line between promising technology and proven technology. The index weighs heavily toward operators who have crossed that line. And here's what that reveals. China's companies are already running at that level. Baidu Apollo isn't testing in a sandbox anymore. It's operating in dozens of Chinese cities with hundreds of vehicles. Waymo is still in Phoenix and San Francisco, despite being incredibly sophisticated. It's not that Waymo's worse. It's that they are still working through regulatory approvals while China's competitors are generating passenger revenue. This weighting toward commercial operations is the crucial detail. Let's get concrete. Baidu Apollo operates in over 20 Chinese cities right now. That's not a pilot, that's a network. Passengers open an app, request a ride, get picked up by a fully autonomous vehicle in real traffic, and the whole thing is revenue generating, not subsidized testing, real money changing hands. Pony.ai launched its ride-hailing service in Guangzhou and Shanghai, two of China's biggest metropolitan areas. Not controlled test environments. These are sprawling real cities with millions of people, chaotic traffic, weather, all the complexity that makes autonomous driving genuinely hard. And they are operating there successfully enough that they are ranked third globally. WeRide's in similar positions across multiple Chinese cities. So when you see these rankings, you're looking at companies that have solved the operational problem, not just the technical one. They didn't just build a car that drives itself. They built a supply chain, hired teams, operate customer service, handle insurance, manage fleets. That's the harder problem. Compare that to Waymo's Phoenix operation. Genuinely impressive technology, but it's deliberately limited scope. Specific routes, specific weather conditions most of the year, enormous support infrastructure. They're not done yet because they're being methodical. They're proving safety at that scale before expanding. That's a legitimate strategic choice, but the index doesn't care about strategy. It measures what's actually operating in the real world at volume. And by that measure, China's winning decisively right now. But here's the real story behind those rankings. Now let's be fair to American companies. Waymo is genuinely remarkable technology. The engineering is sophisticated. The safety record is strong. Waymo's operating in Phoenix with thousands of rides completed and an impressive safety profile. They're expanding to San Francisco. They're not failing, but they're operating at a different scale and pace. Waymo's approach is cautious by design, limited geographic scope, heavy regulatory coordination, extensive testing before expansion. There's wisdom in that. One accident with a self-driving car in a major United States city gets massive media attention and creates regulation backlash. Caution has a cost. Meanwhile, Chinese regulators are moving faster. They've decided the benefit of rolling out autonomous services outweighs the incremental risks of slightly less cautious deployment. That's a different bet on the same technology, not necessarily reckless, just different. Tesla's in its own lane with full self-driving, but that's more of an advanced driver assistance system than true autonomy. The car needs constant attention. Uber had Robotaxi ambitions, but sold out of autonomous vehicle development entirely. General Motors Cruise faced regulatory setbacks. So among truly autonomous commercial services operating at scale right now, it's genuinely Waymo versus 3 Chinese companies, and the score is 3-1 in China's favor. That doesn't mean Waymo can't catch up. Technology and regulatory environments change. But right now, today, at this moment, the leaderboard is what it is. Here's why this matters more than you think. So what does China's robotaxi dominance actually mean? First, it means autonomous vehicle technology isn't mysterious or decades away anymore. It's here. It's operating in major cities with hundreds of thousands of rides completed. The question isn't can we build this anymore. It's how fast can we deploy this. Second, it means geopolitical competition in AI is real and it's happening now. The United States dominated AI narrative for years. We built the models, we set the standards, we own the conversation. But autonomous vehicles are where AI meets the physical world and real money, and China's winning that translation contest right now. Third, it changes how we think about regulatory frameworks. America's cautious approach might feel safer, but it's also letting international competitors prove their technology works while we are still debating deployment rules. That's not necessarily wrong. Safety debates. It has consequences. Fourth, and this is crucial, it shows that American technical superiority doesn't automatically mean American market dominance. Our companies are brilliant, our engineers are world-class, but if deployment happens faster somewhere else, they win the first-mover advantage, build operational expertise, scale their business, and by the time we catch up, they're already established. You can't out-engineer a competitor that's already collecting revenue. Finally, this will inevitably accelerate United States deployment. Waymo will expand faster. New regulations will loosen. Congress will notice that China's doing this without catastrophe. Competitive pressure is real, but here's the practical takeaway. If you're wondering what this means for you specifically and whether robotaxis are coming to your city, here's the practical situation. In China, they're already here. If you live in one of the major cities where Baidu, Pony.ai or WeRide operate, you can literally open an app today and request an autonomous ride. In the United States, the rollout is much slower. Waymo operates in Phoenix and San Francisco. That's it for genuinely autonomous commercial rides. You can't get one in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, or most other major cities. Tesla's full self-driving is available, but it still requires human supervision and attention. It's not true autonomy. The timing question is, how fast does United States regulation change? If Waymo's success accelerates regulatory approvals, and it probably will, you might see autonomous rides in additional major United States cities within 2 to 3 years. If regulations stay cautious, it could be longer. The business question is, will Chinese companies enter the United States market? That's complicated due to regulatory and political challenges, but it's possible. They'd have to license or partner with American companies, but their operational expertise could be valuable. What should you monitor? Follow Waymo's expansion announcements. Watch regulatory changes in your state. If you're an investor or work in transportation, this is obviously huge. If you're just a regular person, think about how autonomous ride-sharing changes your relationship with car ownership. The real story isn't just about vehicles. Here's what matters. China's robotaxi companies aren't just ahead on a theoretical leaderboard. They're already operating revenue-generating services in dozens of cities. They've proven the technology works at scale. They're collecting real money from real passengers. That's not hype, that's commercial reality. And for the United States, this is a wake-up call. We don't need to panic. Waymo's technology is excellent. We invented autonomous vehicles. But we've gotten cautious at exactly the moment when caution has a cost. Every year we delay regulatory clarity on autonomous deployment is a year Chinese companies get further ahead operationally. The rankings released by Autnmy AI's Road to Autonomy Index will update every 12 hours. They'll probably stay the same for a while. China's got operational momentum, but watch for Waymo's expansion announcements. Watch for regulatory changes in your state. The United States can absolutely catch up, but it requires recognition that this is a race, and right now we are not winning it. What you should do, if you live in Phoenix or San Francisco, consider trying Waymo. The technology is real and it's remarkable. Follow the news on Robotaxi rollout in your area. Remember that this story is bigger than just vehicles. It's about whether American innovation translates into American market dominance or whether being first isn't enough anymore. China's proven that they can take an American invention and out-execute us in the real world. That's the headline worth remembering. Follow for daily AI news and we'll keep breaking down the stories shaping our future.